Okay, so I'm just creating this video just to help some people out with one of Zaki's worksheets. So let's just have a quick look at the worksheet. It's the tutorial a couple of weeks ago for the NAT/PAT IP version 6. The first question basically says, a company approached you to design a local area network that consists of a number of PCs and laptops and a printer to be housed on the ground floor of a two-story building. You are required to design the network using packet tracers, suggest an appropriate network address, configure all end devices for full communication, test the final network for full operation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create this network. I'm going to actually create the one that Johnathan did and showed us in class. I took a picture of it, so I can't really show you, it's on my phone, but I'm going to create that for you and show you how to set it up. Okay, so the first thing we need is a router. Let's go to devices and router. Choose let's have a quick look. Let's go for the just a basic one, 1902. There we go. And just if you click on the text at the bottom, you can rename it. So just call it R1. Okay, so his description is a couple of PCs, a couple of laptops, and a printer. So let's start off with a switch. And then we want, let's take 3 PCs. This is the way that Johnathan did it. 0, 1, 2, and then we want a printer. So if you're not sure where printers are, if you go to end devices and it's here, generic, it doesn't actually look like a printer there, but it is. It's a printer. Grab that off, just place that there. You'll see it says printer underneath. Okay, so we want, what do we need next? We need a laptops. So let's go to laptops. 1, 2, 3. And then we need a wireless broadcaster. Shit, where are they? I've forgotten. Components, no. There we go. Is it that one? That one? I think it's that one. No, that's a repeater. We don't want that one. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Wireless devices. Let's just have a generic one. So, if you want to actually look at the devices, most people don't actually know this, but if you want to actually look at devices, you can actually, excuse my language, you can actually click on the printer and you can look at the actual printer and look at the ports that it's got. You can actually click on the switch to turn it on and off if you want. The router, you can do the same. You can zoom in, look at the back of the router, look at the ports that it's got, turn it off, turn it on. I don't think you can unplug power, but you can just sort of turn it off and on with the switch. So if we have a look at the access point, you can see that it's basically a wireless access point. Zoom in, you can see there's a switch there, and there's a Ethernet port there to plug your network in, and then you've got the antennas there to broadcast the signal. Okay, let's connect it with wires. So we want the standard cable, which is that one. And the router will go from gigabyte. Oh sugar, I've used the wrong one. Right, let me delete that one. I don't want that one. I want a fast Ethernet modem. So is it 1942? Let's have a quick look. No. Okay. I'm doing this totally wrong. Never mind. I think it's that one. we'll just use that one. 1842. Right, so connected from the fast Ethernet port 00. If you have a look at the image of the device, you'll see that it's got two Ethernet ports there. So each Ethernet port is listed here. So we've got 0, 1, 0, 0 and 0, 1. So we're going to connect from 0, 0 to the switch. And again, the switch, this particular switch has 24 ports. So we're going to connect that to 0, 1 port, and then from the switch 0, 2 to the computer Ethernet port, and so on. Here we go. Keep on going. And then the printer, port 5. There we go. And then from port 6 to the access point. The access point only has one port. And then if you can see here that we're waiting for the actual devices to communicate with the switch, and it does take a few minutes, or probably about a minute, but you can actually click on fast forward time, and that will just fast forward time basically, so that the printers are now communicating with the switch and the PCs and the access point is. Now this isn't working because we haven't set up the router yet, which we'll do in a bit. The first thing we need to do is get these laptops to communicate with this access point. Now to do this, if you click on a laptop, the laptop doesn't have any wireless communicator in it. The generic laptops don't have the wireless communicator in it. So first thing you need to do is switch off the laptop, the power button here, and then you want to get in the bottom right corner here, you can see the wireless adapter. I think you can actually, yeah. These are different components that you can plug into the laptop. So we want to look for the wireless adapters. Let's just go for that one, NM1W. Then on the actual laptop, you've got a port here. You can drag that off. It's Ethernet. If you just zoom in, you can see it's an Ethernet port, Ethernet card basically, port with a port. You take that off, just drag it over to here, and put in the wireless adapter. Close that down. If you fast forward time, you should see, oh, I need to switch it back on. There you go, fast forward. So you see that it's actually communicating with the access point. So we do that for all the laptops, turn them off. Oh, you need to take that out first, then put that in, turn it back on. Out. Oops. Turn the power off, turn that out. Back in, turn the power back on, and we should have all of them communicate. Right, okay, so we've got our network set up. So now we need to configure our router. So if you double click on the router, we go to the command line interface and we press return to get started. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is enable the router. So to do that, we type enable. And then we need to configure the terminal. So again, config terminal. You can actually type con term, I think, but I just use the full words. If you've never done it before, I would just suggest use the full words so you know exactly what they mean. Okay, so first thing I do is rename the router. So if we go to host, sorry, if we type host and then the name of what we want to rename it to, so R1. I think I didn't rename when I replaced it. R1. There we go. Okay. Okay, so where are we up to? Right, so so we've renamed the router. We need to set up the interface port. So you'll notice, like I said, that the wire is plugged in. If you mouse over this, let's just close that down. You'll see that the wire is plugged in to, well, there are two ports on the router, 00 and 01, and we connected our wire to 00, so that's the port we need to set up. So the next command we type is interface fast Ethernet 0/0. And then we need to assign an IP address to the router. So I'm going to choose, well, you type IP add and 192.168.10.1, and then we have sorry, I think I've done that wrong. 1 second. Oops. Okay, yeah, sorry. Right, so IP add, we're going to give this particular router 192.168, this network 192.168.10, and the router's .1, and the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Okay, so next we need to set that up, so we just type no shut. Oops, no shut, not shut. And then exit. Okay. So the lights are changing now. The router is trying to communicate with the switch and all the other devices. And you can see that the light is changing to amber. If you press fast forward time, there we go. So the network should all be communicating now. So what we can do is we can test it by pinging the different devices from other devices. So let's start with, just to make it a bit more, before I do that, just to make it a bit tidier, what I do is, just of course, sorry, we've got to set up the IP addresses first. Duh. Forgot about that. Right, so we've got our router as 192.168.10.1. So let's go around all the computers, and if you click on the PC and you go to desktop IP configuration 192.168.10, we'll give this 2, and it should fill in the subnet mask for us automatically. If you copy that, close it down, go to the next one, config desktop terminal, just paste it in, rename it to 3. Again, desktop IP, rename that to 4. Printer, you go to config, fast Ethernet 0, IP address, paste it in there, we'll give that 5. This laptop, click on the laptop, desktop IP address. Now it automatically gives it an IP address, but if you want to change it, you can do. Static 6 fills in the subnet mask for us. Desktop IP address, static. We'll give that one 7. And then the last one, we'll give 8. Okay, so what we can do now is we can open a PC like that, and we can click on command prompt. But just before I start pinging, I'm just going to tidy this up a bit, because we're going to add another network later. So what I want to do is I want to sort of be able to differentiate the two networks. And what I do, I don't think Johnathan did this, what I do is I put, if you click on the box here on the right, you can draw a coloured box, so select fill colour, we'll do yellow, I think I've already got yellow selected, yeah. And what you can do is you can draw a yellow box around the network like this, and then just move this a bit. If you go to the text box here, you can type in the network address, so 192.168.10.1, and then underneath 255. Just below the corner, and then what I do is I click on each PC, copy the IP address, and just paste it into there, just so that I know which ones are which. So that's 3. 4. Printer is 5. This laptop is 6. That's 7. This one is 8. Okay, so now we can test it by pinging one device from another and see if it works. So if we click on the PC laptop number 2 and we go to command prompt and you just type ping and then type in the IP address of another device on the network. So for example, we're going to try and ping this one, 192.168.10.8. And if you get replies, then it's working fine. So let's go to number 8 and try and ping the printer, 192.168.10.5, and there we go. And that's a quick tutorial video on how to set up a basic network. The next part of the question is to add another network on another floor, and we'll do that in a later video. Thanks for watching. Bye.